Hi everyone, and welcome back to Waterhouse Forde. So following on from our previous video where I had a little walk around, showed you all the bits that we've completed or moved forward with, we've got this one last video now, I think, before we actually start removing stuff and getting ready for paint, and that is essentially to take the tractor for a drive. I want to do that because I really want to test the clutch, I want to test the brakes, and you just generally feel how the tractor feels. I have actually also tested the hydraulics already, so there's more work to do on them in terms of setting the quadrant and getting that the right place for that. But the point is that they work, and that's really all I wanted to confirm. So I'm not going to show that until when we put the tractor back together again. We'll set all that, and I'll show you then what we do with the hydraulics. But this video, just a short video. To essentially get the tractor ready so that it can actually move under its own steam, and then a little bit of filming of it driving up and down the driveway, essentially testing the brakes. We've got a little slope on the drive, we'll test the brakes, hopefully get them balanced, and that'll be pretty much it for this video. But before we do that, I just want to show you what I've done in order to make the tractor ready to move under its own steam. So I'm going to go handheld. I'll do that, it'll only take a minute, and then we will show you the tractor moving. Alright, here we go. Okay, so the first thing I've done, you'll notice I've brought this is actually the temperature gauge. I've brought that over to this side now, and I've basically just cable tied it to the top of this frame. You'll see we've got a little battery in here. This is actually a battery from one of our mowers, ride-on mowers. And the purpose of that really is just enough to provide spark, it's basically to energize the coil for the spark. That's not to start it. That's not powerful enough to start it. You'll also notice that I moved the fuel tank, our temporary fuel tank. I've moved that to the other side so that the steering wheel is free to move. Coming around the other side, I've just tidied up the wiring a little bit and got stuff out of the way. Insulated some of these wires down here, the ones that go onto the control box for the charging. You can see I've got again fuel tank sitting there now, and generally just got everything so that it's secured, but more importantly we have fuel and we have battery for the sparking or for the ignition system. Yeah, look, that's pretty much it. I've also just double-checked the clutch again, just made sure that I'm happy with the setting of the pedal. That feels good, so I'm happy with that. And yeah, I've got the oil pressure gauge just on this side now. That when you actually bring it up, it feels the copper part feels better on this side than on the other side. When you put the battery basket back in, the battery holder back in. That copper part for the oil gauge doesn't sit right, so I moved it to this side, and that seems to fit better. I do need to do some research. I'm not really sure which side the oil pressure is supposed to go, left or right. I might look at some old photos and see if I can work it out, or if any of you do know, maybe you can tell me how yours is, and that will help. In terms of the hydraulics, like I said, I did give them a quick test. So the main thing I've done, I've just put this pin in just to tie that up, but basically to hold. So what I did is I was twisting this screw in, and again I'll run through all of this later when we actually set up the hydraulics properly. But basically, just what you want to do is turn that in until you just got tension on the spring, and the spring doesn't move backwards and forwards. It can still turn sideways. You can see it's still quite loose that way, but it doesn't move backwards and forwards, and that's what you're looking for. And then this pin goes in to lock it in place, essentially, so that it can't move again. And that's all I did. In order to, and then obviously when you move the lever, then the hydraulics do go up. Hydraulic arms go up, and then you can put it down, push the lever down, and the hydraulic arms can go back down again. And that's all I was looking for at this stage. Look, and I think that's about it. Let me I think, yeah, like I said, I think that's it. Let's move over now. We'll put the camera on the tripod. I'll go and get Oscar. He's going to do the driving, and we'll see if we can get it moving. Here we go. Alright, there we go. So it moves, it goes forward, it goes backwards, all 4 gears work, reverse works, very, very happy with that. The clutch feels absolutely fine. If anything, the clutch is a little high, but I think that's absolutely fine. I'd rather it's higher than, too high than too low. So very, very happy with that. Yeah, I mean, it goes well. The brakes, so you saw us there, we had to adjust. In the end, we adjusted the left wheel up 2 clicks and the right wheel down 1 click eventually. And that we got then to the point where it felt like they were both equal. And that's obviously what you're looking for. In theory, we should run the tractor a little bit more, let those shoes bed in properly on the drums, and then we will check them and test them, and adjust them again. In theory, I'd like a little bit more braking force on the wheels, but it stops, and as you saw, the wheels, or certainly the right-hand wheel, was locking up on the downhill there, so that's good. Left one not so much. Once we got them balanced, they did both lock, but only just, and maybe that's probably about where you want it, to be honest. You don't really want your wheels locking up if you can help it. Other than that, yeah, my temporary battery and for the ignition system, that worked really well. Got it started with the big battery on a jump lead, and then took that off, and yeah, it was fine. There's plenty power in there to supply the ignition system, so very happy with that. But yeah, so the only thing now that we will need to do when we finish painting is to set the steering, the toe in. That hasn't been set properly yet. I haven't even measured it yet. I can feel, I mean, it's difficult driving up and down the drive, it's difficult to know exactly, but it doesn't feel 100% to me. So I'm hoping that we will certainly sort that out once the tractor is ready. Not going to bother with that now. What else? We still have a little leak on the oil filter, which is annoying. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. I thought that I'd got it sorted. That canister is on really, really tight now. It's possible that that the O-ring or the O-ring inside there, that's not. I might have twisted it or something's not right in there. So when we remove everything, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to drop the oil out of the engine and take another look at that. It's a bit annoying, but there's not much really we can do about it. We just need to open it up and try and see what's going on in there. I do remember when cleaning that canister, we found, if I remember correctly, there was actually 2 washers in the bottom, so underneath the filter, and I couldn't remember why, or couldn't work out why. They had 2, normally you only have 1. And now I'm wondering whether that's something that they did to try and stop it from leaking previously. Not sure. But anyway, we'll take another look at that and get that sorted. What else? Yeah, so it drives good, stops good, gears feel absolutely fine, clutch is 100%. Steering still needs a bit of work. We'll get that sorted. Hydraulics are fine. I'm really happy with it. Look, now the hard work starts for me. I'm not a body person. It's not something that I've done a lot of. But I'm going to give it a go and see if we can get a reasonable paint job done on this tractor. Like I say, I'm no expert. I've done a very small amount of spray painting in my life, but we're going to give it a go anyway. I'm going to do my best, essentially. But anyway, there is quite a lot of work to do, prep work. There's a lot of filling to do on the bonnet, on the mudguards. Like I said last time, there's a small patch of rust on one of the mudguards I'd like to sort out as well. So we'll get that done. And then there's lots of components that need painting individually, never mind the tractor itself. So a lot of work to do, both in terms of prep work and then in painting. Again, weather is definitely not susceptible to. It's not great for painting at the moment. We're going to have to wait at least until May, June time, I think, before the weather will be good enough for painting. I think if you're painting inside, if you've got a closed environment, then you can probably get away with it at this time. I don't have that luxury. I'm going to have to paint outside. Well, it's not 100% outside. It's in one of our open barns. So we will have to wait for better weather for that. But that's fine because there's plenty of prep work to do. And I think, look, we're getting quite well. On the one hand, we're getting quite close. On the other hand, a lot of work to do in terms of prep work. But just stay tuned. I think I'm going to start in between. I might start working on another project. I've been thinking about that John Deere ride-on mower. It is still in the barn next door. We started work on it. Must be 2 years ago now. Started stripping it. We know what's wrong. I've got all the parts that I need to repair it. Just haven't had the time to actually get into it. The fundamental problem is a oil leak around the bottom of the engine, where the bottom of the engine and the top of the engine meet. Unfortunately, that means stripping the whole thing, which is a pain, but could be interesting material for the channel. So I'm kind of thinking I might get into that in between, because otherwise I'm pretty sure I'm going to get bored with just doing prep work and paint work. So stay tuned for that. That might come up. The other job that I do desperately want to get on with, I've got a couple of trailers that they all need a little bit of something doing to them, and so it's possible that I might get into that at some point as well. The main ride-on mower, the Mountfield, that actually needs a service before we get into the main cutting season, so I might well film that as well. And actually the mower on the International, that needs a little bit of work as well. So there's lots of jobs to do, and but I will try to film as much of it as I can. Hopefully that will be interesting to you guys. But yeah, look, I think for this one, I'm not going to film the stripping, right? I'm just going to crack on with that. I'm going to get everything stripped off and get it ready for painting, and then start work on the bonnet and the mudguards and all that good stuff, which I will film some of that. Think that might be interesting to some people. But yeah, so just in general terms, just very, very quickly, I'll just talk about my process, what I'm imagining. So the first thing is get everything removed that doesn't need painting. Block off any openings, holes, etc. Get those all nicely sealed up. Cover anything that doesn't need painting but that can't be removed. In other words, just generally get it ready. I'm then going to take it out. I'm going to give it a very good wash in terms of, with a power washer. I'm going to get some degreaser on it, because obviously there are bits and pieces where there's bits of grease, oil, etc., etc. Get a lot of degreaser on it. And probably also spray it. Once that's done, I then want to spray it with a vapor rust, just in case there's any remaining rust spots anywhere. On a couple of bits, we've got a bit of surface rust, like on the tie rod links for the steering. So get a little bit of vapor rust on it. Leave that for like a 24-hour period, and then spray that off again. Dry it off, and then the tractor itself, then I think will be ready for painting. I won't do all of those steps immediately, because actually when I do that evapor rust and then spray it off, that kind of needs to be a day or two before I start spray painting, I think, so that it's so we don't have a chance for more rust to develop, essentially. So that's the process for the tractor itself. For the bonnet and the mudguards predominantly, like I say, I want to try and do some filling. I want to try and get them as smooth as I can. They're very pitted from corrosion. I think that this tractor probably spent a fair bit of its life on the coast. You can see, I've shown you before, lots and lots of pitting on all of the metalwork. I'd quite like to get the bonnet and the mudguards looking, reasonably smooth, reasonably well, coated. And then we'll get a base coat on, paint, etc. And then there's a load of other little components that all need painting, which we'll get done as well, like the footrests and the arms for the hydraulic system, the 3-point hitch, etc. All of that stuff needs painting. So yeah, look, I think that's it. I'm waffling now. I think that's it for this video. I hope that you've enjoyed that. I hope that you've enjoyed our journey. We certainly had a huge amount of fun with it. I know it's taken longer than it should have, but look, that's the way it goes. I hope that you'll join us on the next video. I'm not entirely sure when that'll be. Hopefully in about maybe 2 weeks' time, I think. But let's see how we go. And yeah, I hope that you're going to enjoy some of our other projects that we're going to get on with coming up shortly. All right? Great. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and hope to see you on the next one. Cheers for now.